So next, we get to James Bond, which is really interesting. Denis Villeneuve will be directing the next Bond film. We don't yet know who James Bond is. The Broccoli family has no control, no creative input, nothing to do with the Bond franchise, so it'll be interesting to see how they change it. I hope they keep the Bond theme. I think they kind of have to. I mean, since 1962, we've had that theme. I hope they keep the gun barrel opening, and I hope they keep the format of having some kind of a pre-title sequence and keep those title sequences, because that's kind of something that's built into Bond. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that's been going on since 1962. The real question with the Bond franchise I'm a Bond fan from all the way back into my days being a wee lad. I was watching Bond when I was 5. Is James Bond even viable in the world today? Can you remember, a lot of people don't remember this, but when James Bond was introduced to movie screens in 1962 in Dr. No, you were less than 20 years away from the end of World War II. Everybody kind of went home, started to rebuild their lives, and in America, the middle class was built in the 50s, and you had a lot of people. You had jet planes were flying all over the world now, and what James Bond did was basically show the world had become sort of middle class after World War II. Bond was all over the pages of Playboy magazine. The Bond franchise was sort of the ultimate wish fulfillment for 30 and 40-year-old dudes that had settled down with their wives and were now living the American dream, but that American dream was not really exciting, so here comes a character, James Bond, who's the most exciting dude you know. And that's where the Bond brand was sort of cemented as wish fulfillment for sort of middle-class men in their 30s and 40s, and really represented something that men wanted to be him, women wanted to sleep with him, that whole adage. And that was something when I was a kid. I was attracted to entertainments that had very strong male leads. As a kid, I wasn't too keen on kids programming, but I really loved watching characters like James T. Kirk, my favorite fictional character, and then, of course, James Bond, because these were people that you could aspire to be. And if you think about it, what I loved about James Bond was not only that he was a badass, but he was smart. Like, he knew all this stuff. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't know what caviar was. I understood what champagne was, but, I didn't know what Bollinger was, and I didn't understand that champagne could be served at a certain temperature. But he knew, and I knew he knew, and while I didn't understand any of it, and I didn't understand, like apparently you get caviar and you get to take a woman's panties off. I don't know. How does that work? I never got that when I was a kid. Didn't understand. But James Bond knew. And I'm like, I want to use caviar to take girls' panties off. Little did I know what the reality of that situation is. And frankly, I never learned to use caviar to seduce a woman. But maybe there's still time. Everything still works here. What I'm really interested in is the Daniel Craig era of Bond. I loved Casino Royale because there was still fun to be had. But Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and especially No Time to Die, where fucking Bond dies, spoiler alert, he came in a submarine, but he's like, I'm not going to go because I can't genetically be with the woman I love. Maybe they'll have a cure, dude. It was so dumb. You came in a submarine, just go down in the basement, go back and get in your submarine, and even when the missiles blow up Dr. No's squared headquarters, you can still get the hell out. But he didn't. But whatever. I'll complain. The Daniel Craig era, love Casino Royale, really disappointed in everything else. And don't tell me how great Skyfall is. I know. It made $1 billion plus. I get it. Good for it. It's a movie where James Bond fails every step of the way in that movie. He fails. Then he even fails playing Home Alone. Does not save M. And you're supposed to like that movie, but everyone likes it because, hey, it's beautifully made. But what Bond was doing was emulating The Dark Knight. Javier Bardem is the Joker, and the plotting in that movie is a little silly, and it just shows Bond as being very ineffectual. He can't even save M's life, in the Scottish Highlands at his home. And what they did with Blofeld, it's all gobbledygook. But what they're going to do with the Bond franchise, in my mind, as a Bond lover, is to make sure that they figure out a way to make James Bond relevant in this day and age. Does anybody really want a sexist, misogynist dinosaur who's a product of the Cold War? They can't play that card anymore. It's a new world. GoldenEye teaser. It's a different world. That's some fucking marketing, man. They knew what they were doing. When they re-injected, there was a lot of excitement over Pierce Brosnan coming back. That movie was really good. Yes, Sean Bean dies in that movie, but Sean Bean's great too. Alex Trevelyan. I mean, Xenia Onatopp, Famke Johnson. Come on. Fucking men to death. What a great femme fatale. The only problem with GoldenEye is like James Bond disappears so you can go meet Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler, and you can hang out with the femme fatale in Russia. The love interest is a very nice woman. But anyway, I'm going on and on and on about Bond only because I love it. I really want to see this franchise come back. Don't know if it can. The real question is, are franchises immortal? Anyway, let me read on and ponder this question for a moment because I want to come back to it. Following Daniel, first of all, box office was up. Return on budget was up. So we'll see where it's going to go. Following Daniel Craig's 2021 swan song, Bond is getting a tip-to-toe reboot with new producers Amy Pascal and David Heyman. David Heyman, I trust. Amy Pascal, I don't know. We'll see. A new screenwriter, Stephen Knight, who's made it his life's ambition to write a Bond film. Very excited about Stephen Knight writing this thing. And a new director in Denis Villeneuve, earning the franchise the highest scores of the group. So the people that were looking at franchises have given the Bond franchise the highest marks, which I think is sort of foolish. But even though as much as I am a lifelong Bond fan and love the Bond franchise, again, more than ever, you had Daniel Craig back in the aughts who started playing Bond. So he was, 2006 when Casino Royale came out, and then he played Bond till 2021. That's a long stretch as Bond. How do you reinvent Bond for today? Are you going to go younger? Are you going to delve into Bond's literary past and make him a naval commander? Are we going to see that? If you start with a young Bond, you can actually do something really interesting that we haven't seen before. You can see Bond on a mission for the Navy, for the Royal Navy. Could be interesting. That way you could start Bond as a much younger person. So the franchise got the highest scores of the group that they polled based purely on the pedigree of who's at the helm. You've got one of the great filmmakers of the modern era, says one studio exec. Denis made Dune both accessible and profound, adds a filmmaker. He could do the same with Bond. I don't want Bond to be profound. I don't want profundity in my Bond. I want Bond to kick ass. I want him to fuck beautiful women. I want him to drink great booze. I want him to smoke good cigars. I want him to go to very exotic places, drive fast cars, and have basically a good time doing it. Give me the fun Bond. Give me the Spy Love Me Bond, not the Roger Moore quippy Bond. Give me something a little hardcore. Then I don't need that. But, if you want to give me an undersea city, throw that in there. Don't make the villain another tech bro. The Bond franchise had tech bros before tech bros even existed. Give me some megalomaniac that wants to destroy the world. And I don't mean any college professors. Okay? I want a real megalomaniac. I want somebody with a philosophy who wants to kill everybody on Earth, and Bond's got to stop him. Give me some of that. Why can't I have that? Bring it back. It's got to be hard-hitting. It's got to be awesome. It's got to be fun. And it's got to be kick-ass. And you've got to have, Bond has to be a fucking badass. He's got to be politically incorrect. Look, the man is on the edge every single day. Could be the last day of his life. The reason he likes the finer things in life is because he could die tomorrow. That's why he sleeps with beautiful women. That's why he eats caviar from whatever lake in Russia or whatever inlet from the ocean they got it in. And that's why he knows how to refrigerate Bollinger at whatever 38.6, whatever it's, that's why Bond is Bond. Give me that Bond. Everybody knows what Bond should be. None of this morose, I've missed a step. Oh, I'm sorry, I got shot off a train. Let me go mope and play drinking games with this scorpion. None of that crap. Give me a Bond that I want to be again. I didn't want to be Daniel Craig, except when he was with Eva Green. But I want to get a Bond that is kick-ass and is escapist and takes me away like Calgon. That's what I want. That's what I want.